We're so good.
I was just fumbling around because I was like, oh, I can go do other things for a minute.
Sounds like that's what Rhett's doing as well.
My water. Get a paper towel to blow my nose because I'm just a mass of like churning juices. I just got
Fantastic.
I just got home and I was really hungry from grocery shopping, and then a family member called me and we talked for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So it was like 20 minutes before the podcast, and I hadn't eaten like all day. So I just engorged myself. I just got a ton. I just ate this like giant thing of pineapple, and then I made a sandwich and I ate that. I ate a bunch of chips, ate a bunch of Reese's Pieces. And that's just all right there, all fresh. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
I think we lost Rhett.
Oh, because of his broken. He's still there. It says he's muted.
Oh, does it say he's muted?
Yeah.
I don't see him at all.
I see him on mine. Oh, he's not on the top right corner. He's just in the middle.
Oh, okay. He's in the middle. There's a no microphone thing. He didn't say anything about leaving, did he?
He did not.
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
All is well.
Technology.
You missed me explaining to Polly just how much food I just stuffed down my face right before the podcast.
Yeah, engorged was the word that he used.
Churning,
engorged. Those are very John Thayer words.
I'm just. Oh, it was a good sandwich. It was the sandwich. It was the beautiful sandwich.
The beautiful sandwich. The beautiful sandwich. The beautiful sandwich. The beautiful sandwich.
When's that podcast coming back, Polly?
We are recording this coming Saturday.
My God, it's been a while.
Look, there's been a lot going on.
I know. No, I believe you, but it's just amazing that
we got those first two out.
Album.
We got this first two out real quick, and then Antichrist Superstar took 8 years.
Yeah.
So it's like we're some might say we're still podcasting about it because that's how much we love it. That's probably what's going to happen. That's probably going to be like an 8-hour episode.
It's a very good album.
It is a fantastic album.
Who's the guest on that one?
After 5, which is it's funny because he doesn't listen to music, so.
Oh jeez.
It's fun throwing that's the whole idea of that podcast though, is throwing people out of their wheelhouse, and it's like
for some reason I thought John was the guest, and I'm like, but John's definitely already heard that album.
John's gonna be on one of them. I think we're putting him on Eat Me, Drink Me.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
As I understand it, I haven't listened to it. You told me not to listen to it, and I've been dutiful. I got it through Hollywood, and I was like, all right. I'm going to take the rest of this journey with the podcast.
All right.
I think after Hollywood, I would just stop listening to Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, it's a bummer that he died after that album. All that weird posthumous material that they've released. Weird.
I'm excited. I'm going to be very excited to hear After 5 talk about it.
Yeah, that's like, I know that he's listened to the album. And I know that he's got thoughts on it, but I don't know a thing about those thoughts. So it's going to be really fun going into that.
Fabulous.
Wow, we picked like the slowest Sunday ever. I literally have 0 viewers.
Aww.
But that's fine. That's fine.
I'm in the chat now.
There you go. Look at that.
Okay, so I didn't miss any chat by not having it open for a couple minutes there.
Oh, right.
I've got 730 fucking poly points.
There you go. You can do a lot with those poly points.
I don't even know what they do. I'm gonna get started.
They just let
modify.
You can modify an emote. You can unlock a random sub emote. You can highlight your message, or you can just choose an emote to unlock. I'm gonna put one in there later for like one point where you can ban Sacred Mikey too.
Excellent.
What?
Poncho's here.
Hey, Poncho's here.
There we go. And it's in the Twitter and in the chat.
There we go. Yeah, I got it.
So why would I unlock a random sub emote?
Look, man. These things were already there, and I just applied. I made them way cheaper than they.
Really?
Yeah, they were like I think they start at like 450 to do like a random sub emote, 900 to do, but you get like double points for being a sub. Like, it's a dumb system, and I don't look for this system to be in effect by the end of the year. Or they'll have found a way to monetize it and make it awful, and I'll have to just completely disable it. Like, that's just kind of the nature of Twitch things. Huh. But for now, you can get poly points, and you can do things with them.
I'm going to do nothing with them and just get like 1 billion.
But I have infinite.
Have 300 poly points.
I have infinite poly points. So I can literally do everything. Like, I can take this emote right here, just be like, check it out. These dumb effects that don't work, or these overlays that you can't adjust in any way because they look stupid. Look, I can put a finger beside Angry Polly's face. Check it out. Boom. There it is. That's real stupid.
Yo. So it's modify a single emote.
Let's modify a single emote.
Polly, that's extremely good because it looks like you're giving finger guns while also being angry.
That's a very me thing.
It's perfect. That was such a big sandwich to eat right before a podcast, y'all.
Big old sandwich. Big sandwich time.
It'll be okay. I'll make it through.
You will, somehow, some way.
It's going to be wild when halfway through the episode, John is like, I need to eat because I haven't eaten in a while. What's that? Did you really think I had a big sandwich right before the podcast? I don't like big sandwiches.
I do like sandwiches. I do.
I had mapo tofu instead.
I've hated tea this whole time. There's the first. There's gonna be more. I hate my tofu. My family said my tofu was delicious.
Well, hey, if you can't trust your family, right?
Mm.
There you go.
God. It's kind of aimed at the word tire.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are we ever ready?
Are we ever ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2019. Welcome. Wait, it's not 2019 at all.
Oh my god. I did the same thing where I was like, oh wow, it's 1/1/2019. Shit!
Son of a bitch. Well, that's the kind of year it's going to be here at the Sockscast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2020. Episode 109, brought to you by, as always, by Moon Pies. Moon Pies, eat one, you stupid fucking idiot. I'm your host, Polly, as always. How's everybody out there in internet land doing? How the old holidays treat you? Because it's been a while since we've done a regular one of these.
I know.
Been a while.
It's been a bit. I missed y'all.
Last time we were together, we had one Samurai Karasu with us, and it was a trip.
Yep, and a treat.
Yep. Always a treat. Always a treat.
Always a treat.
So yeah, to my immediate virtual right, Godspeed, you weeb emperor. It's Rhett.
Hello.
Hey.
Barely got Skype working for this episode.
Yeah, you barely did because you're roboting like crazy, but we're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. So tell the world about your Skype woes. That sounds fun. Tell everybody why you're gonna sound like this episode.
Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're fine now.
Okay,
but you've been
closed
roboting.
the stream. Oh, jeez.
No, you're coming through clearly now.
Oh, I should probably close torrents, huh? I'm an idiot.
Well, there you go. That might be.
You know, I've got to share the Sympho gear with everyone who wants it.
Oh, right. You're doing that.
Okay, should be good now.
All right. Good. Yeah, Red, like desktop Skype decided it don't like Red anymore.
I go to open Skype like 45 minutes before the podcast. It's like, I'm updating, and then it's like, okay, I'm loading. And like it's loading, and it's like, you're not doing anything, are you? And like the same thing happens to me with Steam sometimes. So I close it, open it up, I'm loading.
Yeah, I get that too. I wasn't sure if that was just a me thing with Steam or
Steam's kind of fucking weird too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least it's not just me.
Yeah. But then I went to uninstall Skype, and it's like, oh, there's 2 versions installed. And then I opened the other one. It's like fucking Windows 8 app version of Skype that's like locked into full screen, and it wants to merge. And it wants to merge my local account with my Microsoft account, and I'm like, oh, this is murder. So I just uninstalled everything, reinstalled like the latest version, and it's just that same loading screen again. I'm like, oh, okay, so nothing worked anyways. So now I'm on web.skype.com.
Oh, good. Yeah, like next episode we're going to be doing an experiment. So hang tight. I think it's time we hang up Skype. It just keeps getting exponentially worse, despite the fact that the call quality is usually okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, to my immediate virtual left, bring him the horizon. It's John Thayer.
Hello, everybody.
Oh my God. John. You don't sound like John.
What? What do you mean? This is how my voice sounds.
You definitely threw your voice down a little pitch.
I don't know what you mean, Rhett.
Fucking good.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great after that big old heel turn you had over the course of the holidays. That if you tuned into our Game of the Year lists, you might have been able to bear witness to. That was some good stuff. Good fun times. You feel proud of it? Still feeling proud of yourself about that?
Well, you know what? I felt bad about it at the time, and now I basically feel fine. So don't worry. Don't worry about my feelings.
Like, when the episodes came out, it felt like you had 2 or 3 days of feeling bad again. So it felt like you got a double dose of feel bad.
Oh, but it turned around. I don't have it pulled up right now. But a few days after, once people had started hitting it, John messages me. He goes, "So many people have messaged me to say they also don't like Shovel Knight." And then he goes, "My poison is spreading."
Which is funny because
he ended up feeling very good about it.
It's like our Discord does have a group called John Thayer Brain Poison. It's anybody that has a dark green name, they've been John Thayer brain poisoned.
I noticed that the other day. I hadn't seen that yet.
Tinger Gemini has John Thayer brain poisoning because he likes Beats Massacre. The Beats Catastrophe. There's somebody else. There's somebody else I gave that to because they agreed with you about something too, and I was like, "Fuck that! You've got John Thayer brain poisoning as well."
Excellent. Oh, I wonder who else it was.
So you were literally like a virus, like just your awful opinions and ideas and just all the general awfulness that
mannerisms,
awful mannerisms, just kind of everything that makes up the John Thayer experience is that's John Thayer brain poison.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna be more. That's the New Year's resolution. Just kind of own it more. Just be more confident and.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to do you real well on the having friends thing, too. I think people are just going to flock to you for that. Like, people are just going to love that.
Just kind of go harder with everything.
Go way harder than you've ever gone before. Face. Like, I think your New Year's resolution should just be 2 words. Fuck restraint. Just go all in on fucking everything. Wreck every single thing that you come into contact with.
Just kind of, yeah.
Just be this whirling dervish of destruction.
Like a Tasmanian devil.
Like a Tasmanian devil. Yeah. But just with the worst possible takes.
Cool.
So, John?
Yeah?
We're doing a podcast, so that assumes that we have to talk about media that we've consumed.
You want to go into some of my great takes?
Let's go. I mean... What better way to start a decade of more really good hot fire takes than starting them with John fucking Thayer himself?
That sounds good.
All right, let's do it. What you been up to,
right
John?
after the last podcast, I finished Devil May Cry 3.
That game's really good.
I think that game's really good. I don't think I need to talk too much about it. It's just like very cool, good action design and cool, good boss design, and a lot of just it feels real nice. They did a really great job, like kind of punching up sort of the feel from Devil May Cry 1, I think. And I love the level. They kind of kept a lot of the eccentricities too, which I thought was really charming. And I played it on yellow mode, so I got to play it the way the original US release was experienced. So that means no checkpoints.
Who needs those? The levels are short anyway.
They're so short. It's like 10 minutes? That's nothing. You can do that in one go.
Exactly.
It's not with a really hard boss right at the end. It's great.
It just makes it better. That's a real
good. Once I got past Ornstein and Smog not it was all downhill from there, pretty much. I don't even know what... You told me there's one more hard boss. I'm not even sure which one it was, because that really gave me too much trouble after that.
Yeah, like, the only other boss that I really hate in that game is, like, the worm that flies
the one
through
early
the air.
on?
Yeah, like, that's the only other boss in that game, I think, that's just egregiously terrible, because the camera doesn't work for it. Like, it's just confusing, but, like, the Agni and Rudra is such an early skill check. It's like, Jesus! Okay, but Swordmaster, Trickster, or Royal Guard?
I think I stuck with Trickster, because that's one where you can dash around, right?
Yeah, Trickster.
Yeah, I just stuck with Trickster for all of it.
Trickster feels real good.
Yeah,
well, like, when you get good...
Next, I really like that.
I did my last playthrough with Royal Guard, and Jesus Christ, it feels so good.
Oh, that's nice.
It's so meaty. Like, you feel like such a goddamn champion playing.
So good.
Yeah.
Was it Trickster exclusive that lets you teleport around, or was that one of the...
I think that's exclusive.
That's Trickster.
I think that's exclusive to Trickster.
Yeah, because that feels real good. Mm-hmm. When I was fighting Virgil at the end, and I would just, like, unload a big... He'd, like, do a big attack, and then I would, like, teleport directly in front of him, and then, like, do a combo, and it felt like a shonen anime. Like...
If anything, I feel those games encapsulate that spirit of
yep.
Especially with the big one-on-one versus human enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Devil May Cry games always feel like they capture, like, a shonen anime type feel more than fucking entire games dedicated to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the teleporting at the end, I was just like, okay, yep.
I know what you want me to do here.
This is not a scripted sequence. This is just how cool the innate fighting feels.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
This is Devil May Cry as it is intended. It's just, you're, like, you stick with it, you're gonna love it, because it just makes you always feel coal at all times.
This goes down real smooth.
Yeah, yeah.
I just watched Matthew Matosis's whole Let's Play commentary where he no damage Dante Must Dies Devil May Cry 1.
I watched that last night.
I'm sorry?
Wow. I watched that last night, too.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. So it's real fresh in my mind.
Yeah, it was just a real good watch.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, man, yeah, this is really cool to look at these bosses at, like, a high level. I'd be interested in seeing how Devil May Cry 3 holds up under that lens, too. Because at a certain point, it's hard to know, like, how... That's those kinds of challenge runs where you can really just sort of drill down deep into how like sharply made that kind of action design is.
Yeah, like you can really scrutinize just how well these enemy designs hold up. Like, are they as fair as they might seem on normal? Like, does this hold up, or did they modify the rules any for the harder difficulties and things like that?
That was so cool, seeing all the ways they actually just changed.
Yeah, they actually do straight up just change the rules. Yeah, Dante Must Die changes the rules entirely.
Mm-hmm. No health regen on Devil Trigger.
That's real fucked. Play that the first time.
Enemies do get Devil Trigger.
Yeah. Oh man.
Just regular enemies. That's beautiful.
Such.
I think I ultimately still liked Devil May Cry 1 a little more because it is weirder and because there's a Space Harrier segment.
Oh well.
And an escape sequence.
Yeah.
And like, come on. Right, and Devil May Cry versus Devil May Cry 3, which has a giant teleport hatch room. Fuck.
Man, that game's so good.
Except for that fucking teleport hatch room. Except you don't even have to beat them all. There's like this weird... You only have to fight, like... Somebody just said to me, like, you only have to fight these 3 bosses, which is... And I just did that, and I was like, alright, I sort of cheated there, but I'm kind of happy to be done with this, so...
Yeah.
Weird. But besides that, very good, cool game, and I immediately went on and bought DMC4 and DMC and DMC5. Nice. So I'm ready for a good time. I'm really excited about 4 because apparently Nero's whole deal is like grappling and throwing.
Oh yeah, you're gonna really, really like that.
Yeah, I really like him because that's like the soldiers on Leona's team are all like that. Mm-hmm. And Alex in Street Fighter 3, like that's just my entire jam.
Yeah,
is that kind of get in and then just throw people around. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, like that shit. But yeah. That gets expounded upon a lot in Devil May Cry 5. But yeah, that's good shit.
Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so excited. And I'm kind of excited about the American remake because like that everyone seemed to like that one when it came out. People seem to turn over time, huh?
Really?
Is
You
that
think
fair?
that's the You think that's the narrative that happened with DMC? Because DMC was pretty much universally hated by pretty much the entire fan base, but reviewers liked it.
Okay, maybe I'm just thinking of reviewers.
I know that
Wow.
reviewers like it got a lot of critical acclaim, but within the fandom itself, I think everybody was just a bunch of piss babies about it because it's like I've played probably a fourth of the game and it feels totally fine to me. Like
But he's different. He's emo.
He's different and emo, and it's like a different take. Like it's like you can't tell me that
A different edgy teen.
Yeah, like it's
I'm
literally
glad.
just Dante has always been an edgy fucking teenager, and if you're playing these games and you're taking these stories and characters seriously, you're probably still like 14 years old. Like that's the only fucking solution that I can think of because like this, the way people pissed and shit their pants over DMC Devil May Cry just astounds me. It's just y'all are fucking stupid. Shut up.
Yeah. So I was happy to just buy that one, and then people were like, "You got that one?
Why would you buy that one?" God, fucking insufferable assholes with the most man. That is a thing that I really want tuned out of my life in the next decade. Is basic bitch ass opinions about anything.
That's a good goal, I think. Oh no! Has Rhett been silent this whole time?
Oh great, good.
Aww.
Good. That's fantastic.
Oh, Rhett. I'm sorry.
Technical difficulties, folks. Oh, Jesus. We're working on it, folks. Sorry. Like, that's so weird. Like,
It'll be all right.
Oh yeah, he's just straight up not in the call now for some reason, but he is. I don't know this. Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
I see you, Rhett. I hear you, Rhett.
You're here now.
I wonder what happens.
What were your Devil May Cry takes?
Well, that's what I was trying to say something. I'm like, they are just talking over me. Like, they can't hear me. Oh, shit, they can't hear me. I was just going to say, like, I think the narrative on DMC, the American one, has kind of turned around a bit because people hated it at launch.
Oh, yeah.
But then they put out the definitive edition, which actually did rebalance some stuff, and I think people kind of softened up a lot to it with that version.
I think it's like the kind of I think like what happens is like it's the Final Fantasy 13 story. I think where it comes out, it like critics like it, they're pretty okay on it, and then the fan base fucking hates it, and then all the people with the basic bitch ass opinions eventually just leave and find something else to latch onto. And then, like, okay, now we can actually have a discourse about this without the discourse just being, man, that fucking sucks. Hey, everybody, this sucks. I hate this thing. It sucks. It's so different. Linear.
I think in this case, it was literally like there are angels and demons and like angel weapons and angel or demon weapons, and you literally had to use certain weapons on certain enemies. Yeah. And people hated that. So I think in the definitive edition, you can just use whatever.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Like they literally incorporated mods people had made on the PC version into the final version of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatevs. That works. I'm excited. I'm really excited to continue with it. I really like Devil May Cry. It's just 1 and 3 just completely resonated with me.
It is funny.
I'll play 2 at some point.
Oh,
I've played all of 4 and DMC, the reboot, and I thought DMC was fine. So
cool.
Like it's got its own style. There's some really cool bosses in it.
Like it is, like that. Like I feel that in terms of set pieces and just evoking that same feeling of coolness, I think that like DMC absolutely gets it. And anybody that says it doesn't is just being willfully fucking stupid about it.
Yeah, that seems fair to me. Also, it's really cool figuring out that Hideki Itsuno took over with 3 and then 4 and then 5.
Yeah.
And then looking through his whole, like, ludography, basically just being like, oh, he worked on all these cool fighting games.
Yeah.
Beat 'em ups in the 90s. Okay.
And just today on Twitter, Kamiya was like, yeah, Itsuno was actually brought in at the end of DMC2 to try and save it, and he couldn't. And
it was too late.
Yeah, and he was like, even I couldn't save that.
It was weird seeing him be humble about something. Like, listen, I'm not throwing this guy under the bus.
Yeah, like
that was just a fucked project.
Yeah, like that project was just fucked from the get-go. It was meant to be a mess. Like Capcom went entirely wrong with that shit. They just tried to be mass appeal. They took away all of the fucking bite that Devil May Cry has to try and make it appeal to a larger audience.
Jeez.
And it worked because for the first 2 or 3 weeks that game was sold out.
Oh,
that's wild.
But
now there's a narrative that changed.
And then you get to Devil May Cry 5 years later, and that game is literally a footnote in the history of Devil May Cry that you access on the main menu. It's like, oh yeah, and some shit in Devil May Cry 2 happened. Whatever.
It's a collection of of Devil May Cry 1 and 3. And there's this other thing. I guess.
You can buy Devil May Cry 2 separately on the Switch.
Wow.
Oh, really?
That's wild.
That's very funny. I just got that collection.
They should have done a new collection that's just just call it like trilogy.
1, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so this game just rules a lot. And then and also I just really had a good also Itsuno did Dragon's Dogma. Mm-hmm. And he was literally, like, in interviews, like, yeah, I really want to do kind of like a Western, like those Western RPGs, but I wanted to make combat that was good.
Yeah.
It's
just like saying it very flatly like that. It was very good.
John, if you played Skyrim, you'd understand.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And
combat in those games is dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that Itsuno's, like he was ready to leave Capcom, and he was like, the only way you're getting me to stay is if you let me make Dragon's Dogma 2 or Devil May Cry 5. I am leaving unless I get to make one of those.
Huh.
Hell yeah.
God, so now what? He got one to do one of them.
I fully see Dragon's Dogma 2 in Capcom's future, because I feel like Capcom is on an upswing right now, and they're making a lot of good moves. I mean, they are a large AAA company, and they are inevitably going to fuck it up. Don't worry. They're going to. Cycles repeat themselves for a reason. But for now, Capcom is on an upswing, and they've curried a lot of good favor, and I think they're making a lot of real smart fucking moves right now.
God, that reminds me. I saw a list of, like, best-selling Capcom games ever. And Monster Hunter World is, like, so far ahead of everything else. It's crazy.
It's absolutely nuts.
Like, number 2, I forget what it was, but was that, like, 7 million or something? And Monster Hunter World, they said, had sold, like, 14 million. Yeah. Like, twice as much.
Twice as much as second place.
God, those games really connect with people. It's really cool.
Well, no, they always connected with people in Japan. They could never get that series to stick outside of Japan until Monster Hunter World finally fucking did.
Yeah,
they finally did it.
And it's because, and I think it's because they westernized it quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I just remember when they were releasing like Wii games and 3DS games, and I'm like, why the fuck are you not putting this on the HD consoles or PC? And they finally did.
That's awesome. I mentioned Dragon's Dogma being like Western RPGs. Hey, guess what?
Yo,
I played some PC style Western RPGs.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not through with them yet because they're very long, like those games do.
Yeah, these things tend to... Western RPGs tend to have a bit of meat to them.
Yeah. So I made a total impulse decision. Somebody mentioned... So I think what specifically happened is that Spiderweb Software, I made a tweet about them like a year ago, and some rando was Twitter searching, saw it, and then added me, like... Oh, something. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Kind of shoe, please.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, I wonder what they've been doing up to lately. And I looked at Spiderweb Software, who is basically just this guy Jeff Vogel, who's been making PC Western style RPGs since the 90s. Mm-hmm. He's made like 25. It's pretty mostly by himself.
That's an extensive.
He's prolific.
Yeah, very prolific.
Just been kind of doing it. A bunch of them are remakes of older games, so I'll like remake an older one in a new engine with extra content, that kind of thing. And he just come out with a new one called Queen's Wish: The Conqueror, and it had a very specific thing that made it very different from all the other games he's released. Do y'all want to know what that is?
What would that be?
It has an iPhone port. The others were iPad only or PC only.
Wait,
okay.
iPad only?
iPad only, because they had big screen. They're isometric Western RPGs where you click around. They have big old things. And this is the first one that was iPhone, and it seemed like fate, y'all. I was just like, well, you know what? Well, I'll give this one a shot.
I don't know. It seems like fate, though.
All right. And I downloaded it, and I played a bunch of that lunch break, and I kept playing it. And I played it for like 6 more hours that night.
And I was very, very late to work.
And then like 5 more hours the next day.
Jeez.
And then I was like, oh, I really like this. So you
can
like
this is not Steam. What I did not expect this to land the way that it landed at all when I was watching you
get started on it.
Yeah, like when I was watching, like this is going to be like a 1 or 2 day thing, right? And, nope, he's still going.
I'm still going. It's like 3 weeks later because it's like a 50-hour game. And the premise is that you're the third son of a royal family, and you're just a piece of shit. Your older siblings are just really, really good and productive and helpful for your family, and you just do nothing all day. And your mom and your family get sick of it, and they just throw you through a magic portal into a rebelling colony and then tell you to take care of it.
It's a very Konosuba-ish in a way.
Yes. And you're locked back out, and they give you a bunch of resources. There's an army on the way. There's XYZ, but then you just have to start from scratch and build up this old colony that got taken over. And it's a grid-based game, top-down, clip art looking art, basically. Like literally, it is a lot of like open source art.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. No music.
That makes sense given how many games this guy seems to be making.
Yeah.
But this is also a brand new engine, so this was like a 2-year project. So and it's a new world and a new story. He usually works in like trilogies or whatnot. And it opens up. You do like one mission, and then it completely opens up, and you can go in 3 different directions, and then all of them are one different colony you need to take back over. And all of them have their own culture. All of them have their own ways you need to ingratiate yourselves with them. Every quest you do accumulates resources for your different forts, which directly influence how strong you are. You only get experience points for finishing quests, and any dungeon you have to do it all in one go. So what this means is that you can't grind because you only get XP for finishing quests. And dungeons are really tense because if you leave, then you just have to start them back over. All the fights are hand put together. There's no just random fights. Like all the fights are right on the screen on the map you're exploring,
right.
And they're all just carefully laid out. A lot of them have custom dialogue preceding them. So the fighting is sort of SRPG-ish, but faster, and it's directly on the maps you're exploring. And it's very smart, and every encounter is kind of unique because it's not just a bunch of monsters that you can create a bunch of infinite encounters out of. It's all handcrafted, basically.
Right.
And the reason this game works so well for me is the writing's funny. Like I started off with him just being a big old piece of shit. That's
and that's how you connect with John. Is first of all just be a big old piece of shit.
No, he's not. He's not that. He's actually a lot nicer than the other royal family because you'll run into moral quandaries basically. Like, do you want to do a slavery or not?
No, don't do a slavery. No, that'd be bad.
So I went to my mom. I was like, hey, can I not do a slavery? And she said, ugh. Yeah, this is typical of you, I guess. You got that weird noble streak. Fine, if you don't want to do a slavery, then don't do a slavery. It's your prerogative.
I'm gonna get that on a shirt. Don't do a slavery.
Mm-hmm. So that's one of the good moral choices you get. So it's just immediately completely open-ended. I've started on veteran just for the shit, just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's still torment is the highest difficulty, so it wasn't like the hardest thing, but I wanted some teeth. And it just, all of the systems just perfectly mesh together. Like everything feels good. Finishing a quest does progresses you on like 3 different fronts. Like you get XP, you'll get resources a lot of the time. You might get access to new characters. You might do XYZ. It'll progress the main quest. It'll do this and this. It's just a bunch of systems that feed into each other just kind of pristinely. Like it feel like we talked about that with Ease 8. Like I think just like with the way the systems tie into the scenario here, this feels even tighter to me than Ease 8. Like it's just popcorn. It's just candy for my brain, just constantly.
Are you saying the numbers get bigger?
I'm saying the numbers get bigger, but it's not just that. Because like I said, you can't grind.
No.
It's smart, and you have to think about it. So I'll get to a hard quest, and then I'll be like, no, I can't do that. This is way too hard.
John's just asserting his intelligence here. He's very smart, and this is a smart game for smart people like John Thayer.
Exactly. So it just feels so good. I've just progressed. I've sent out my tendrils into all 3 colonies now, and I'm almost near the end of all 3 of them. I've just been progressing each of them until they get hard, and then I go to a different one and start progressing that line, and I'll go to a different one and progress that line.
And you've still not done a slavery.
I've still not done a slavery.
Good job, everybody! Give the boy a hand. Didn't do a slavery.
Now, if my mom had told me, no, you have to do a slavery, I don't know what I would have done, because turns out playing a game with a mean mom that's withholding of affection, and my brain just short circuits. Like, what am I supposed? What? No.
So don't do a slavery unless your mom tells you to do a slavery.
They did ask me to officially issue a statement saying that when we did do slavery before, it was bad, and the narration told me that my mom would be mad if I did that, so I didn't. I just said, the practice of slavery was bad when it was happening. That's a bad system. And I didn't. And there's specifically a moral choice where you can like say no, or you can do an actual apology, or you can do a mealy mouth non-apology. And I went with the mealy mouth non-apology.
Oh my God.
You U.S. politics the shit out of that.
Because I really, really didn't want to make my mom mad at me.
We're sorry you were offended by our slavery in the past.
So sorry that you were offended by the slavery.
Is that the Queen's wish that she wants you to do a slavery?
Queen's wish is for me to not disappoint her again.
Okay.
And I think I'm doing a good job. You can't. There's a whole path where you can just say fuck it and like rebel and help them all rebel against the Queen. I have no idea what that looks like. So I'm just.
Is somebody popping something?
No.
Because I keep hearing a ping kind of sound, and it's driving me nuts.
Is it this?
No. There's something
that's me bumping my closet.
There's something that's pinging, and it's
probably me. I don't know why though.
It just kept happening when John was talking.
Oh,
it's driving me nuts.
My voice is just innately creates like an obnoxious frequency that only Polly can hear.
That must be it.
So bring back that evil John voice from the start.
Hello, everybody. No, but
there it was again.
So I'm having an absolute blast with this. I'm really excited to wrap it up. It just feels good on all fronts, and the fighting is very fun, and the writing is really nice. It just feels like completely together. And apparently, it's pissing off Spiderweb software fans because it's very different from the previous games.
Oh, good.
Because the other ones you get experience for killing random mobs, and the random mobs would spawn over and over, so you could grind. And then and it's not isometric. It's top-down square tiles, as God intended. What the fuck is the isometric RPG? Like, that doesn't mean... That's nothing. Obviously, it should be top-down.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to spin this off into John becoming a lot more open to this sort of experience. I can probably talk about that more, but I think after Rhett.
Oh boy.
What have you been up to?
I don't know. No, I know. I've been up to a lot over the last couple weeks, so I had to kind of trim down my list of like, okay, what are I think the most important things to talk about?
Because it has been almost a month since we were last together.
And I've watched a lot of anime.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not going to talk about that. So, this is... I don't... Okay, give me a second, Polly. So, let's take the temperature of the room. There's this game that came out in 2014 called Shovel Knight. How do we all feel about that?
Well, I think it's one of the finer releases of the past decade, personally.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, they released these expansions for them. Plague of Shadows. What's the second one called? The Spectre Knight thing?
Spectre of Torment.
Spectre of Torment. I didn't like that one.
It was okay.
I thought you really liked it, and then I almost completely bounced off it.
It's the only one that I've 100%ed, weirdly enough.
That's wild.
But I think that it's just like because it's easy to do. Like finding all the red skulls is not really that hard to do.
Yeah. I played that one.
Spectre Knight is the coolest of the bosses, though. Like, to be fair,
he's pretty cool, but Plague Knight is cool in a dorky way, I think.
Yeah, I like Plague Knight for his dorkiness.
Yeah. So that game came out in 2014, and at the very end of 2019, they released another damn expansion. They actually did 2 expansions because there's also this fighting game thing,
and it's real bad.
And it's real bad.
Oh,
no. Wow.
No, I like that. I played Towerfall for like 6 hours over the Christmas break, and I was like, oh, I love this.
Towerfall's good. Towerfall is good.
I think maybe you could have fun playing with actual people on Shovel Knight Showdown.
Probably.
But
that's the only reason to play those sorts of games.
But to unlock everything, you have to do their single player, and the single player ends up being like, hi, how about you versus 3 or 4 AI at the same time, and you just get fucking murdered, like stunlocked to death. It's bad. Anyways, I didn't play much of that. I played King of Cards, the final single-player expansion.
Oh boy, the one that was clearly geared toward me.
Because there's a card minigame.
Oh boy.
Okay, so the card minigame is truly optional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you go to the first town, like, it kind of presents itself to you, and you can just literally immediately turn and walk out of the town.
That's exactly what I would do if I walked into a town and they were like, hey, do you want to play cards? I would not say a word. I would turn around and fucking leave.
I don't even think you have to get to the, hey, do you want to play cards? I think you can just enter the town and then just immediately leave and the game keeps going. And then, like, due to the world map, due to the setup of the world map, like, you don't even necessarily have to go to the other towns that have the card game in it. So you can just play the entire thing as a platformer. There's one boss at the end that requires you to do all the card stuff, which I still did.
Oh, wow.
It's an optional thing, though. Like, I almost missed it until somebody posted a screenshot. I was like, oh, I should probably go do the hidden boss, because I already finished the card game. I just had missed this one specific NPC that you talked to. I like this one a lot more than Spectre Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I think King Knight, his moveset is like kind of a really interestingly... It's very simple. So it kind of gets a lot of that movement stuff that Spectre Knight had, but in doing it in a way simpler way.
Mm-hmm.
Because all he has is a shoulder bash.
Oh, yeah, he's like Wario.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, right.
He like does a shoulder dash and then goes into a pirouette.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
It's interesting.
It's very graceful.
Well, it's just interesting how much they get out of this moveset that is basically literally one button. Because you do your shoulder bash, and if you miss, nothing happens, obviously. You just stop moving. But at the end of the shoulder bash, you can actually press the button again and do an invincible dodge roll, which I did like 3 times ever.
Oh, wow.
You know how in Shovel Knight, when you get those, like the relics or the spirits or whatever, the special moves, like they'll have a little obstacle course designed to show off how to use that one.
Yeah.
So I did the one for the dodge roll and then basically never used it again after that. I just forgot that it was a thing. But it's cool that it's there.
Yeah.
But
thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Tengu, very much for the $10. Jesus.
Aww.
You're gonna finally get in the Skype bucks.
There you go.
Somebody wants some poly points.
Continue, Rhett.
Yeah, so if you shoulder bash into an enemy, then you go into the pirouette and can bounce on top of them like, kind of the downward thrust from Shovel Knight or DuckTales or Link 2 or anything. What's interesting, though, is that you can shoulder bash into walls and also activate that pirouette state.
Yeah.
And then there are walls that will be, like, slimy, so when you shoulder bash them, you don't get the spin off of it. And it's just interesting the way they design these levels to where, like the movement of shoulder bashing into a wall to go into the pirouette spin and then kind of hop back up around the corner of the wall, like, it's kind of a ledge grab. And it feels very good in a weird way.
Yeah, it looked weird to me. Like, anytime I've watched somebody kind of stream a bit of it, it looks a little unwieldy, but then again, I haven't touched this game. I haven't touched it at all just because it was like, oh god, a card game. I'm not touching that. Fuck that. Yeah. But then, like, obviously, no, like, it's optional now, so I'll probably give it a shot at some point. Just not in any big hurry.
Yeah. And then everyone hated the card game because it's really not good.
It's not. No, I've watched people play the card game, and it's like, there's nothing interesting or fun about this card game at all.
I've even seen people who like card games bitch about it because they're like, oh, this isn't really a card game. It's more of a tile game.
Yeah, it's a tile. Like, it's a tile forcing game where you're moving the other person's tiles around.
Yeah. The best part is that Chester, the guy who lives in the chest and sells you stuff in the main game, he'll give you cheats for the card game that are, like, ridiculous.
That's really cool.
So when you're doing a boss fight in the card game, you just kind of get to the end of the play and then do this one cheat card that is flip cards that are on a gem to be your color.
Oh, that's like the biggest cheat ever.
It's a really big cheat. So I can just get to the end of a match when there's only like 1 or 2 tiles left, and then just play that to flip all the things to my color. And the AI just literally can't do anything about it because there's no room left to move. It's real goofy.
It sounds like that's something that may have been added at the end because they realized testers probably didn't like the card game.
Because, like, I was trying to play... John, your fake sincerity.
Yeah, I'm loving this fake sincerity and fake interest.
I'm just like,
oh, you're so broken up.
He's so broken up that the card game's bad.
That wasn't negative. That was nice. Like, I'm sorry that people aren't enjoying the card game.
Because, like, for a while I was like, oh, these cheats seem ridiculous. I'm going to try to do the card game without cheats. And then I got to the first boss, who is the Black Knight, and he starts, like, launching fireballs at the board to blow up my cards, and I'm like, okay, I'm fucking cheating against this bullshit. Like, the enemies also do their own nonsense. Like, one of them just has, like, a spell that makes it so you have to do your move in, like, 5 seconds, or else your turn just ends.
Oh, that sucks!
Yeah, it gets real kind of nonsense. One of the bosses is Mona, and I don't even remember what her special was. But it's cool, because once you beat her, she'll hang out on your ship.
Yo! We always need more Mona around.
Yeah, so there's a tiny bit more Mona in this game. The levels in the main game are very short compared to Shovel Knight's levels.
Yeah, these are like Mario 3 kind of.
That's exactly.
Oh, I heard that exactly once, and I was like, "That's my speed."
It's kind of. Jesus, my screensaver just went on because I hadn't moved the mouse for a bit.
Because,
sorry.
like, the bosses aren't in the stages anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they are sometimes, but most stages are just one checkpoint and then the level ends.
Oh, that's so nice.
So, yeah, it's a kind of a combination between Mario 3 and Mario World because there's also lots of secret exits. And then the secret exits will kind of take you towards the end of the game faster, but then eventually you'll just want to backtrack. But yeah, it's interesting. On, like, the second map screen, I just, like, did secret exit, regular level, and I'm just at the end already, and I'm just like, I just skipped, like, 80% of this.
Jeez.
And I've not fought any bosses yet, because, a lot of the bosses will just be wandering around, like
Hammer Brothers in Mario 3.
Yeah, but I think, like, instead of Hammer Brothers, it's just the Plague Knight fight is a random event, which is kind of crazy.
That's real weird.
I think the way they...
The way they chose to modify this structurally is it's a weird late game play.
Yeah. I mean,
they realized the levels were too long. They're like, here, let's make the levels not too long. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that some of the levels aren't too long in those previous games, because they kind of are, and that was like one of my big issues with Mega Man 11. It's
like my only actual. It's like my only actual beef.
His only actual grievance is that the levels are long.
Everything else is just being mean for no reason.
I think the issue that arises though is that now they'll have shorter levels, but then there will be like 3 in the same kind of tile set area.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So it's just like, oh, there's just a ton of levels now. And like they start introducing not only the gimmicks from Shovel Knight, but then like their own inventive level gimmicks. Mm-hmm. But they're over so quickly, because like sometimes it'll be like new gimmick for up to checkpoint 1, then other new gimmick, and then levels over. Like some of these levels they feel like they don't have any space to breathe at all because they're just so short.
Mm-hmm.
And like the exit thing is just a ring that you grab, and it kind of brings you up back to the airship that you move around in. And they will, like, they don't even have their own kind of room. So you'll be just doing platforming, and you'll be like above a bottomless pit, and it's just like, oh, there's the end of the level, just right there.
Oh, that's...
It's kind of weird.
I think, like, to do things like that, you need to add a little staging to it, like kind of how the end of like a Mario 3 level's got that cutoff, into the card room. Like, you need a little something to kind of make it pop a little bit.
Something.
It does feel like they kind of all just end a little abruptly.
Yeah.
Because even then, like, even when Mario 3 will also, like, if you're doing an underground level, then you exit back up to the ground level, and then you kind of have like an empty room or like one enemy right underneath the card.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have any stingers like that, basically.
Huh. Weird.
There's one really good random event where the airship gets attacked, so you're just like forced into a boss fight out of nowhere. So they do interesting stuff like that, which I like.
Level 5, if your level is a multiple of 5, then you just instantly die.
Okay. Oh, that's a good reference.
So like they do shake it up probably even more than the previous expansions did.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think the speedruns of this will be interesting because of how much choice you have basically in which route is you're going to go down, even though I'm sure people have already figured out which is the fastest one.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that, and like his moveset might be conducive to really good speedrun tech. But I think the Plague of Shadows speedrun tech is probably still like it's so stupidly impressive.
He moves so fast when you're just throwing those bombs right at your feet.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's kind of weird in this one is that his health meter works a little bit differently in that like doing pirouettes on enemies tends to drop hearts.
Yeah, that looked weird to me.
It just seems like they kind of knew that these fights just weren't quite as tight as the other ones.
Yeah,
because you're throwing yourself into the enemy a lot.
Yeah.
And like, it feels weird to do that at first, and then once you kind of have done it for a bit, you kind of know that like you're good. Like, there's no instances of like, oh, I thought I was safe and I wasn't.
There's no top spin bullshit going on here.
No. Oh God, yeah.
Like we figured out how to let you touch the enemy and damage them and not get damaged yourself in 2019.
Yeah, thank God. But like just in general, like some of the boss fights do feel a little tanky in that like
they didn't look as well constructed, or the AI did not look like it was kind of playing well with what King Knight's moves are.
Because like a lot of times I'm just like taking a lot of damage but then getting it back when I do a pirouettes. It's fine, like it's not too hard. I think the last boss is pretty good, like in the main game. But it does a thing where like the last form is not very hard, but it drops the floor out.
Oh, good. Those are always fun.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, this was very easy, but I still had to get to that face like 3 times till I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all in all, like, I had a good time with it, but it's also, like, the 4th time I've been playing through this game.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I'm glad that's over.
It's just diminishing returns, where, like, after Spectre Knight, I was like, oh, I'm 100% done with this, and then after this one, I'm like, okay, this was good, but I'm
110% done with this.
Yeah.
Like, this one, they probably do the most to change it, but it's still that same game. And like the fact that even like the Baz is a boss again, or like Hat Guy is a boss again, like even those characters coming back, as well as all the Order of No Quarter Knights as mostly random encounters.
It's just like, it feels like this is the one where it really just feels like going through the motions.
I guess, I think it's still pretty good, I think. But
The
like,
structure changes on their own are like pretty big. Like that's something.
It's just kind of funny when I started and then realized like the levels are really short, but there's just so many more of them. I'm like, oh my god, this is like, it really is just a whole full nother game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you can immediately knock out in like 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is though, is that the story is probably the most nothing of all of them, because like Spectre Knight tried to be a little more dramatic and like have like this tragic backstory. And this one is just very much like kind of happy-go-lucky, like nothing matters. We're just going on this big adventure. We're going to be the king of cards.
I like the idea behind his story and him just kind of being this mama's boy that's just kind of a pansy, and it's real funny. Like, it's real silly. Like when they embrace the sillier side of these characters, like Plague Knight works because he's just a gigantic doofus.
Yeah.
And King Knight sounds like he works for the same reason, but then they like got ultra mega serious with Spectre, and like, I get what they were trying, but it just, like, it doesn't quite work.
Well, I think the issue with this one is that it has to lead into the main game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really do that properly at all.
Oh, it's a prequel?
Yeah, it's a prequel.
It's a prequel, so he becomes evil at the end. And they do, like, exactly 0 to set that up.
Oh.
So it just has this super fucking abrupt and awkward ending.
Weird.
Where it's just like, oh, he just betrays everyone. Okay, cool. Because, you know, it's the Shovel Knight Spectre. You go meet the Enchantress at the end.
Yeah.
And she's like, join me. And he just goes, yes. And you're like, oh, okay. Whoops.
Oh. So you kind of like, it's like this predestined thing that's going to happen, kind of like the end of Steins Gate 0, where you can't really have a climax because you already know what's going to happen, and the climax to Steins Gate 0 isn't the climax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So because it had to lead into the first game, it's just like, maybe it could have worked that more into the story, but they don't really.
Yeah,
but it'd be nice if they made some different games.
Yeah,
it's been like 6 years.
Well, kind of like these were Kickstarter backed things, though.
But so they have
whether or not it was obligated by like the Kickstarter, that doesn't necessarily mean it was like good, like the right choice necessarily for how they allocate their resources.
Probably.
I mean, I agree at this point of like, when you say playable character, like they could have easily just stuck these new characters into the Shovel Knight campaign, and they went increasingly different with the structure each time, where like Plague Knight basically is that character in the Shovel Knight levels, tweaked a little bit, and then the last completely made new levels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's
very cool. It's very cool that they did that, and I respect it.
Yeah, but it's taken so
it's not
long.
It's not what I like in my ideal world would have had out of a promising new dev.
Like, I'm not sure I would have enjoyed 6 years of working on that game if that were what I had to do. Like,
I mean, you can definitely envision a world where instead of Spectre and King Knight, there's just a 100% new game that they've made instead.
Yeah.
And that's
or like 2 of them.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't want to, throw stones too much, but I don't understand why King Knight took so long, because it's been like over 2 years. Gotcha. I guess it was about 2 years between Spectre and King Knight, which is crazy.
Mm.
But
they also did the Towerfall thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's five games.
It's 5 games. You can buy most of them individually.
Yeah. You're getting a hell of a deal if you buy that treasure trove.
Yep.
But yeah,
But it'd be like if they made Joy Masher made Oniken, and then they made Oniken 1.5.
Oh
and
no!
Then Oniken.
Yeah.
If there were 5 Oniken games instead of having all these other cool things.
They just consistently keep upping the ante for what they're doing, which keeps them exciting as a developer.
Yeah.
When you beat all 4 campaigns on like your same profile, there's a special screen that says like Shovel Knight Project 2013-2019. It's just like, oh man,
that's actually
legit
pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's really sweet, and they're like, thank you for sticking with us and playing all the damn campaigns.
God, that's I want to take a second and appreciate Colin's joke. Oniken, Oni Ryu, Oni Akuma.
God damn it!
Wow, Jesus Christ.
So that's King of Cards. I liked it. And then the secret boss, I showed John what the reference is. It's very good.
Oh, it is a good reference.
I don't know why they throw that in as a thing at the end, but it's very funny. I almost wonder if it's a hint towards their next game. Which would be interesting. God, what if they just make Shovel Knight 3D?
I'll be real mad. I'll be mad if that's what happens.
That would be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious. And it would be so where we are at in gaming in 2020.
Yeah.
But I would be so fucking mad if that's what they did.
I could see them continuing with the IP.
Mm-hmm. Shovel Knight 64.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if it had a cool, like, kind of pixely, early 3D look to it, that'd be really cool. They probably wouldn't go for that, given that Shovel Knight already does not give a shit about looking like an 8-bit game anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. Like, I played this whole thing, until just now I forgot that they were, like, doing a retro thing.
You could put Shovel Knight in any art style. I saw this really good green and orange art style he was in.
Oh, that's their next game.
There you go.
Shovel Shmup.
A Shovel Shmup. Just to crossover with that hot indie sensation Zero Ranger.
There you go. Shovel Knights and everything else. Might as well.
You might as well. Man, that art looks so real, too. Like, it looked so official.
So who did that?
I don't know.
Was it just a random fan art?
I just saw it linked on a Shmup forum. And I was like, what the fuck? It was like, well, this is too good for me to not take and put it on Twitter and make John Thayer mad.
The levels of irony of those two things being crushed together.
I know, it's so good.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah, it just worked out too
The game of the year versus I don't like Shovel Knight.
Like literally two sides of the same coin. It's so good.
But they're friends now.
It's okay.
Polly, have you been up to anything?
Yeah. I've played some video games.
Okay. How's about them video games?
Video games are okay, I guess. I haven't played any good ones so far, but
oh no.
So, whoops, I might have spoiled my segment. I didn't get a good start to games so far in 2020 yet. The first game, actually it was the second game I played, but it's the first game I want to talk about because it was the one I just played most recently, was Gato Roboto.
Oh no!
This is one of those kinds of games.
It's a black and white Metroidvania.
It's a black and white Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Except it's really not a Metroidvania at all. Because it's really just like you go into the levels and you finish the levels, and then after you finish the level, you can get everything that is in that level that you couldn't get before, and there's literally like no backtracking at all. Like you don't ever have to go back to like the first area you go into.
Okay.
So it doesn't really have that it has a map, but it doesn't need one. And it has all of these extra rooms that it probably doesn't need to make the game seem bigger. But for all intents and purposes, this is not one of those kinds of games, despite the fact that everybody's going to tell you it is. But yeah, I
realized that word had no meaning when it started being applied to Dead Cells.
That's what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is a monochrome, one of those kind of games. It's just a simple little platformer. The premise, you're answering a distress call and your ship crashes, but the captain of the ship is injured, so his cat has to put on a power suit and go down and do the exploring. And that's kind of like the hook. It's like, hey, if you want to have something on the internet that gets a lot of views, just put a cat in it. That's kind of like the cynical way of looking at this game, I suppose. Is
the cat cute, Polly?
Not really.
It a cute cat?
Not really. I was not moved one way or another by...
You're not moved by this cat?
I was not moved by this cat in the slightest. It was just kind of like, well, it's a cat in a video game. Okay. Momodora did it first.
Hey, Polly! Can you pet the kitty?
No.
You can't pet the kitty? Well,
No.
fuck that game then.
You are the kitty.
You are the kitty. You can like run up walls and stuff, and when you're the only thing that kind of like the only cool hook I think that this game has is that you can get out of the suit and run around as the cat and like run infinitely up walls and stuff, and it dies in one hit. And like another cool thing is like when you get out of the suit, the entire HUD disappears too. So it's like the HUD is tied to you being in the suit, which is like that's another cool little thing. Like it's got all these nice little cosmetic touches and stuff, but just as a game, it's just really boring. Like it doesn't really do anything interesting at all. Like it has this one joke that it keeps going back to, and it like, tell me how many times you would find this funny. Okay, you're a cat. Okay. You're a cat in a spacesuit, and you're interacting with a computer that is giving you very long descriptions of the tasks at hand that you need to take care of, right? Giving you like, these are like 10 to 15 text boxes length. And you're a cat, so what do you think a cat's reaction to somebody saying 15 text boxes worth of speech is?
Meowing.
There you go. Now, how many times would that be funny?
0.
See, it's 0 or 1 is the correct answer to that question. It's the correct answer to that question, and this game does it like 7 to 10 times. It just
I said 4. That's more than I said. I was being generous.
It just keeps doing it over and over, all the way down to the ending. Like it's just like, yep, you're still doing that, and the end of the game just comes like so abruptly too. It was just like, what?
Cool.
Okay. Not the ending I was expecting, but we'll go with it.
The cat dies.
No, it doesn't. The cat escapes. Okay.
And then it leaves the rainbow trail, and oh my god, it's
Nyan Cat. You know what? If they would have at least done that, it would have been funny because the whole game's in monochrome. But then, like, for that moment of them speeding off and escaping, putting the little rainbow trail behind the ship would have been pretty funny. Does the cat sleep on the keyboard? No, it does not.
The cat should hit the mouse.
I saw this game and I had this like extreme negative gut response because I'm just still so burned up about Minute. I just hated Minute so much.
Like there is nothing about this game that is out and out bad except maybe like the bosses have way too much health for the dumb simple patterns they have.
But it's not hard, right?
It's not hard. It's just literally you will be sitting there pounding on a boss for 3 or 4 minutes just because it has so much health. And like none of the upgrades let you do more damage or anything. So it's just, man, these boss fights are way too long. Why is this? Yeah, like I don't know. Like this game's cheap, I guess.
I guess that's why I never expected much from it. It's like, oh, this is $4.
Yeah, it's like $4. I got it for free.
Yeah.
I got it for free because I got it on one of those, like I had a 5,000 point coupon for the winter sale. So I just redeemed it on this because there was really nothing else worth $5 that I saw. I was like, well, I might give that a look. So I picked this, and like, I mean, God of Roboto is okay, I guess. It's just like, look, it's not the best way you're going to spend 3 hours. It's not the worst way you're going to spend 3 hours. It's just kind of like, hey, it's a functional video game. I press buttons and things happen. It's got nice animations every now and then.
Just so you all know, they do a kitty on the keyboard joke on the website.
Oh, of course. Of course. Oh, and the coordinates of the ship that you're going to rescue are 42069.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Fucking nice. That's the weed number and the sex
number at the same time.
I saw folks like tweeting about this game when it came out, and I was just like, everyone's like, well, I gotta play that. And I was just like, really?
Really? Because even like because like I remember when this game came out, I knew about the game where the cat was in the spacesuit. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's why everybody loves it. It's a cat, so that's the meme. Everybody pretends they love cats because if you do that online, everybody will like you.
Pets are bad, yeah.
And then everybody will like you if you pretend you like cats and you associate everything with cats and you take pictures of cats. And I'm like, look at you, you're a cat person. Everybody likes you. Look at all those likes you're getting on Twitter.
Boy, this got weirdly aggressive.
It's
Little
got
bit.
really personal.
A little bit.
I love y'all's.
I love y'all.
Cats.
I love y'all.
All
But
the
please,
audience, please keep
but
tweeting about your
please,
cats.
please stop using peace signs and selfies. It looks stupid. Just stop it. Can we all just agree in 2020 to stop doing it? We're not Japanese. We look stupid doing it. Stop doing it. Gato Roboto's okay.
My brain instantly associated that with actual real life humans doing ahegao faces, and I hate that.
Oh,
I hate
God,
that
that's...
when people do actual real life ahegao faces.
Oh my god.
That's real stupid, yeah.
I hate it. I'm sorry, y'all.
Can that just be like the rest of the podcast of like dumb things that people do online that are just irritating?
You know what really grinds my gears?
It's not really funny when you do these dumb things. It's really just like, haha, look at me, I'm doing the popular thing. Anyway, Gato Roboto is okay, I guess. Like I said, it's a functional fucking video game. What do you want? Like, that is all I can muster for this game is, hey, it's a functional video game.
It's going to be weird when you bounce off so many games this year that this ends up in your top 10.
This will have to be like a number 10 because I need to fucking fill out the list.
Like, well, it functioned, and I beat it.
I functioned and I beat it. Hooray. I keep thinking this is definitely going to be that year, though, where I just hate video games. Because I've just had such a bad time trying to play anything. I've had such a bad time trying to play anything since I've been on break. Like, I've literally enjoyed nothing.
Aww.
I take that back.
Well,
I don't exactly hate anything that I've played. It's just things don't work out.
John's needling you right now to say it.
What else did you... What else? Oh, shit. I didn't even think of that.
What else did I play?
Okay, what else?
I played another game, and it's the only other game I want to talk about today because I don't feel that I've got enough to... I don't have enough to really kind of talk about the other things that I've played yet. I still need to decide whether I'm still playing those or not, whether we're still friends.
Oh, boy.
The other game I played was River City Girls. This game, boy, is it uplifting. Man, this game has so much...
It's so charming.
This game has charm. It's got attitude. It just radiates this kind of energy that I always fucking admired. Just like, ever since it came out, like, I like seeing art of this game. I like seeing the jokes. I think that the game's genuinely very funny. It has this very overtly feminine energy to it that I feel is still it's like, I don't think that it's like just because it has an overtly feminine energy that it's like, you know, like not inviting everybody else to play too. Like it's got a lot of charm. It's got a lot of exciting things. It's genuinely very funny. Like, I laughed a lot playing this game. And I'd even seen some of the jokes before. So it was just like, and then they caught me again. So it was just like, hey, you know what? Had a real good time with River City Girls, but we need to talk about River City Girls from another point of view. And that is the point of view to where you have to press start and play the video game.
We were doing so well.
We were doing so well. I'm not going to murder this game. I'm not going to destroy it. I think that this game is just a pile of terrible gameplay decisions, though. And that fart sound was so well timed. Thank you, Tinger Gemini.
Oh my god.
That was absolutely perfect. So, if you're going to play River City Girls, there's one thing I need you to do first and foremost. And that is to get the idea out of your head that you are in any way playing anything that resembles a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up.
Oh.
You are playing, you are actually playing an RPG that has a somewhat not very good mimic of a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up as its battle system.
Oh.
So, if you get that out of your mind, then all of the bullshit that this game throws at you for actually trying to engage with it as an actual brawler, it might hurt a little less when you find out you're playing a game that doesn't feel good at all. Like, there are things that happen that are just like I think that it's fair to say that, you know, and from having created games ourselves, that sometimes games have to cheat and fudge to make things happen right, to kind of make things, to make enemies work properly. You got to fudge things a little bit, maybe out of the player's favor to kind of make things work. I mean, I'm not.
Think Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh God, no, don't think Mortal Kombat 2. This will remind you of Mortal Kombat 2. However, so a lot of enemies, like the general rule of River City Girls is, is you can't interrupt enemy attacks at all, but they can interrupt you every time. They will stuff every single attack that you have, but you cannot interrupt them. If you do interrupt them, the only way you interrupt them is that they just block. Like, they will go from being in the middle of attacking you to a blocking animation immediately. Another fun thing that enemies like to do is if an enemy starts performing an attack and they're anywhere from like 50 to 100 pixels within range of you, they just get sucked to you and you take the damage. Like, you actually see them, you actually see their sprite get pulled toward you. Like, it's really bad. Like, they can mask it sometimes by making the enemy run. Like, the enemy will run, and then they'll start attacking at the same velocity with which they're running at you to kind of slide in place. And it looks really weird when they're throwing punches and kicks like this. But there are other times where an enemy will just be standing in place and they'll start throwing punches and kicks and just get sucked up into you, so you start eating damage. There are also bosses in this game that are so egregiously bad, I don't know how someone during testing didn't go, hey, this really fucking sucks! Or if that did happen, the developers was just like, no, it's perfect, shut up. We're way forward. We make games that are only good. So, the first of these is Hibari, who is a boss who belongs in a Shantae game, but somehow ended up in a 2D side-scroller beat-em-up where we took away the ability to move up and down. We suddenly just turned it into a side-scrolling platformer for this one thing. And
in River City
Girls? Yeah, in River City Girls, we've taken away that extra plane of movement, and now you can only move left and right, and locked you in a small room with a bullet hell boss. By the way, your controls don't work very well. They like, these are not tight like a platformer controls would be. There's a little delay to everything. There's startup on everything. You have to double tap to run. Things that you normally don't have
for beat 'em ups.
Yeah, these work for a beat 'em up, but not a side-scrolling fucking boss thing that is also a bullet hell shooter for some reason. So this boss, on 3 different occasions, by the way, she has an attack where if, like, she fires off like 23, 25 bullets in a line. And if you get hit by one of them, it knocks you up a little bit. Like, it just cancels anything you're doing, and you get knocked up into your vulnerable state. So, given that these bullets all follow the same trail and the same pattern and the same bounce velocity, guess what happens to you?
Oh, you get juggled.
You keep getting juggled and juggled and juggled. And you don't have iframes in this game like you would in a side-scrolling platformer either. So you just get juggled to death. And you can literally do nothing about it if that attack lands. This boss also summons enemies to fight you as well. Oh my god. This boss is so bad.
Oh my god.
Like, oh, and this boss also takes half damage from all of your attacks for no reason. There's no explanation as to why, she just does. And I know that she takes only half because I was using a mod that actually shows you the damage you're doing. So, compared to the normal enemies in the room that I was fighting, I was doing half damage to her. And she also has a ludicrous amount of iframes on everything she does, so you're never actually 100% sure when and if you can attack her. Whether she is in the air... Oh, yeah, that's also right. She's in the air the whole time, so you can't normally reach her. You have to run and jump off of the wall to hit her, to knock her down.
Polly, make it stop.
Okay, and then there's another boss.
What was the name of that boss, real quick?
The name of that boss is Hibari.
All right.
Is this the one you tweeted about a few times? Like, knowing that the boss was going to juggle you to death.
I knew that boss was coming. I didn't know that the Abobo fight was going to be as bad as it is.
Oh boy.
So if upgrade your normal standing combo in a certain way with certain moves, like, you can't change it once you've added a move to your normal ground combo. Like, you can't go in and just like, okay, I need to take that third hit out. No, like, once you put that new hit in, it's there forever. So, Abobo just has natural instant block to certain attacks. And some of those attacks are your standing combo. So, if you go to, like... So, like, if you upgrade your combo in a certain way, you can literally make half of the damage that you would need to do to him completely null and void because he blocks it. He just immediate blocks as soon as you throw the move out. Every time. So he just gets immediate block on certain moves. He also has a flying clothesline that just defies all fucking logic because nobody on the planet Earth, even speedrunners, do not know how it works. Nobody knows how nobody knows how to fucking dodge it with any fucking consistency. Because the hitbox for it is fucked. The range on it is fucked. It crosses planes in a way that attacks in these games typically don't.
So this Hibari fight, I've seen I looked at 2 videos to make sure it wasn't a fluke. It is 9 minutes long.
Yeah, it is a miserable fucking fight that takes forever.
Oh boy, there's the bullet hell. Oh boy. Oh, juggle. There it is.
Yep.
Bowsers, Polly. This is rough.
It's so bad. Like, how did nobody at all in the creation of this game look at that and say, wow, this is bad. Maybe we need to pull it.
Oh, not only did they not do that, they added some half damage thing to her.
Yeah, like, she takes
like, they
half
could have
damage.
at least made it a 5-minute fight.
Yeah, like... So like, those 2 fights in particular, like, they come dangerously close to ruining that game entirely. Even, like, if... Like, if you're already playing it and you hate how the game feels and you're just not vibing with the gameplay at all and you're kind of just hanging on by a thread because it's a charming and funny game and it's inoffensive, you know, insofar that it's just like, I didn't pay for this, Rhett did. Let's say,
I never
for instance,
gift you anything
ever again. Let's say, for instance...
I'm just kidding.
Let's say, for instance,
I'm on like a fucking 0 for 3 streak, though.
But, I don't hate River City Girls at all. But also, I will also say you need to go to the forums and download, go to the Steam forums and download a mod. Because, this game, like, out of the box, the controls are stupidly hard to bind for some reason. So you need a community-created patch in order to make this game almost fully playable on a gamepad most of the time. Everybody I know that's played this game has had to either fuck around with Joy to Key a lot, or they've had to download this mod to get the game running sensibly with a controller. The mod also changes some of the keys because you can't change certain mappings, such as, like, this game has your attack button and your confirm button on the same things. So when you enter, like, this works like a River City Ransom game in that, like, you go to the edge of the screen and you have to press the confirm button to go to the next screen. So when I go to the next screen and an enemy's rushing to attack me, I go to attack them, I press the attack button, oh no! I go back to the other screen. So this game fixes that.
The mod fixes
the mod fixes that.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I just, like, I was like 20 or 30 minutes into this game. It's like, is there really nothing I can do with these controls? Because holy crap, this feels awful. But the mod sort of tightens things up a little bit. It also surfaces how much damage you're doing. That way you know that, like, the upgrades you're making are actually doing something. Whereas, like, it's hard to tell anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, man, if you have like, buy this game for $10. If like, that's probably the highest I would go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's not the cheapest it's gone, as far as I know.
And only buy this game if you're there for the kind of style, the spirit, the humor that it has, like, the attitude, like, all of that shit around it is still fun. Like, I still came out of the other side like, yeah, okay, like, I didn't hate my time with it. It's just, as a game, it fucking stinks. Which, I mean, I guess, if we're playing
Put
video,
it on the box.
put it on the box. There you go. But I mean, if you're one of those people that kind of needs gameplay to 100% be there, which I mean, I am that person, but this is a game that look, I already vibed with it, so it was just like I will suffer through the parts that I don't like, which is mostly just 2 bosses, to enjoy the rest. But hey, it's got great presentation. The music's fantastic. The comedy and everything, the spirit of everything it's doing is there, but
the one shopkeeper with the great abs that everybody posted.
Yeah, Marion, which is I think it's great that that's Marion from the Double Dragon series, and it's funny because the very first thing that ever happens to her is they walk up and punch her in the gut. So now she's got abs of steel. They can't do that now. And this game's got a lot of funny little riffing on that because it pulls from that whole Technos stable of Double Dragon, Kunio-kun. If you know where they're pulling a lot of these references from, it's genuinely pretty funny. Going through and buying all the food and the items to upgrade yourself, that. It's a fun little loop that'll carry you through because you do get a sense that you are getting stronger as you play. So
it's a nice RPG.
Yeah,
the numbers get
those
bigger.
parts of it are.
Yeah, the numbers get slightly bigger. This is a game that deals in very small numbers. So
how does it compare with River City Ransom?
I don't like River City Ransom. Everybody likes it.
That checks out.
Everybody likes that game, but I don't like that game. I think that game's kind of It was a totally different kind of thing back in those days, though. On NES, nothing was quite like that. It was a mashing up of genres that you weren't used to seeing back then. So I like Double Dragon 1 NES. I think that game's bad. I think that game's that game is a technical nightmare if you look at it, and it's buggy as shit. But I think it is a fun speed run. If you play that game for speed, it's actually really fun. Frustrating as fuck, but fun.
Paul, I have a question.
Yo.
I realized that you mentioned a Bobo and Marion, and I was like, oh yeah. And then I was like, wait, this is a River City game, not a Double Dragon game.
Right.
Are they just shared universe now?
I have no idea.
I mean, I guess so.
I know that it's just I think it's just Arc System Works has access to both Double Dragon, to both Double Dragon and the Kunio-kun series, and I think it's just Way Forward was hey, we want to make references to that. No, I don't like Double Dragon Neon. I think it's boring. That was a response to Tengu Gemini in chat. I don't like Double Dragon Neon at all. But I don't know, video games, I guess. I'm not.
I guess they have the same IP owner now, so why not?
Yeah.
This is funny how you mentioned Bobo and it didn't even faze me. He's from a different series.
Yeah.
Is there a speedrun strategy for Bobo of not upgrading your standing combo?
You have to punch twice and then back away. Punch twice, back away. Punch twice, back away. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It still takes 4 to 5 minutes though.
Okay. I thought you were gonna pipe up with Devil May Cry 5. I forgot about River City Girls.
No. Devil May Cry 5. I've taste tested it, and I don't know that game works with my lack of depth perception. But I'm gonna give it another shot here. I don't know, probably next weekend or so. Cool. I got a busy week coming up, so it's gonna be hard for me to actually play anything. But
no, I get that.
But I tried out Devil May Cry 5. I played through the first 6-7 missions or so, and I like what it's doing. But I'm having a hard time seeing a distance between myself and the enemies, and I don't. And I think it has a lot to do with that game's play areas are really small. Everything that I've played so far in that game has been real small, closed off arenas, whereas Devil May Cry games tend to give you a bigger area to play with. And the camera's usually zoomed out a little wider, whereas this game's kind of up your ass the whole time. I'm working with one eye here, and the depth perception is making it hard for me to judge distance between enemy attacks and me, or me doing something like a stinger and somehow landing 5 feet short of the enemy, just because like I'm working with one eyeball now and it feels weird. So I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna give it another shot, but right now, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, ooh, don't think I can play that.
Gotcha.
Man, and I'm playing John's game of the year currently, but we're having a love-hate relationship right now.
I was thinking if you're that one might be a rough one to try to go for the 1cc right away.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. No,
you don't want to do that with your, because you told me about just play until I need to continue, and then I start over from the beginning. That's not a good fit for Zero Ranger's structure.
No, you like, that is a game where you kind of have to play into it to get better, because you need to see, you need to know what's coming in that game, in more so than I feel other shmups that I have played. There's just something about the way that this game kind of carries itself that I feel like I don't feel too bad about mashing out continues, because that is part of this game's structure. Death is so go for that. Yeah, death is an essential part of how that game works. It's got an entire system dedicated to how you earn them. So yeah, like, but I'll talk more about that next time when I've got more thoughts on it. Other than, man, fuck R-Typo, fuck that boss. I can fight it now, it's fine. But man, that boss sucks. It sucks fighting R-Typo and the other one together.
Oh yes, in Stage 4.
God, those fucking they make me mad. They make me real mad.
I always can get through them pretty quickly, but I get the charge shot. Do you get the charge shot, or do you get the Ray Force gun?
I went with the Ray Force gun years ago.
Gotcha. Okay. I really like that charge shot. I need to experiment more with the other weapons.
Yeah, that's probably what I need to do too. But yeah. Anyway. So how about a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Yep.
All right. 14. We will be right back with more of this thing that we do.
Yeah. More celebrations of art.
Celebrations of fart.
Fucking nice. I'm back.
Hello. I don't think Polly. Aww.
There you go.
I got my new cup of tea. All's well.
Your nude cup of tea.
My nude cup of tea. It's just plain. It is nude. I didn't put any milk and sugar in it.
There you go. So that's how we should start referring to foods that we do not alter in any way.
That was a great sound, Brett. Thank you for that.
That was
a wonderful
loved it. Loved it.
I got all the Asper tingles.
I want more of that. I think our podcast needs more of that going forward. Can we get some more of that energy, please?
I don't have much water left. Let me give it a shot.
All right. Yeah. That's that good ass podcast content right there.
It's my turn.
John, hey John.
All right, so I'm gonna talk very vaguely. Y'all don't need to worry. I did see the new Star Wars.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I didn't like it.
Cool.
You'll never be happy again.
You'll never be.
It didn't really bother me too much because it did like one thing that made me really happy. Mm-hmm. So I left the theater feeling happy, even though the rest of the movie was super dumb and extremely bad.
Like not even in like the fun dumb way.
It's like after it was announced that J.J. Abrams was going to be doing the last movie, people joked that it would be like a comically backtracking response to Last Jedi, which is the one that made everybody real mad, a bunch of internet dorks real mad, mm-hmm. and that he would just backtrack on basically like in I might be a little bit spoilery here. I'm still being vague.
Everything.
But like the thing with J.J. Abrams is that he doesn't tell stories really. He doesn't really do that. He introduces setups, and then that's it. And they'll just have setups. Be like, hey, have this setup. How is it going to pay off? Who knows? It's fine. I'm not telling the next chapter. It's cool. Someone else will do it. Someone else will do it for me. So Last Jedi was like, okay, we had all these dumb empty setups in the first movie. Let's pay a bunch of them off. Since JJ wasn't going to do it, I guess we'll do it. And then they pay it off. They have Poe and his and Phasma fight. They have stuff about Rey's parentage. They have Luke, all the stuff with Luke. They have all these cool payoffs to J.J. Abrams' setups. But they weren't JJ's payoffs. It wasn't what he decided to do. So he just kind of backtracks on all of them. It's kind of like they blow up Luke's lightsaber in the 8th movie. It's fixed in the 9th movie. It's fine.
There's one big change I know about that's real funny, and I love it because it's making everybody mad.
Oh, it's very dumb.
It's dumb, and I love it.
They basically the 8th movie, they kill off the big bad. I'm only going to spoil things that are in like the first 10 minutes. So like they bring back the lightsaber. They kill off Snoke. It's very cool in stakes racing. Now Adam Driver's the main villain instead of it being this guy we don't care about. Start of the movie, Palpatine's the villain now. We basically and he was behind Snoke. Don't worry, y'all. You were so worried that you weren't going to have a boring JRPG final boss. Now we just brought back the one from the 6th movie. It's fine. It's fine.
Polly, have you seen The Last Jedi?
I don't remember. I remember watching one of the new ones. What was the first new one they did?
Force Awakens.
Okay, I watched that one, and then I never watched anything else because I remembered, oh wait, I don't really care about Star Wars.
Yeah, the one after that was much better.
I would be so interested in your reaction to Last Jedi and just act like it's the last movie.
Okay.
Because it kind of ends on a like final note that is satisfying enough for me.
Yeah, that's a good.
I think Star Wars fans are dumb as shit apparently because I literally saw people going, "Man, I can't believe with like everything that happened in Episode 9, they never brought back Broom Kid."
They never brought back Broom Kid.
They didn't pay that off.
Ugh!
I don't understand what metaphors are or symbolism.
So it's comically just this response to Redditors by JJ.
No! If there is,
That is the movie.
if there is anyone you should never fucking kowtow to, it is a goddamn Reddit mob.
They hated the new character that was in the Rian Johnson movie, who's this cool, what was her name? You know what I mean.
Okay, it was
Rose.
a girl. Was she also a minority?
She was a girl and a minority.
Imagine Reddit not liking the female minority.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
So JJ's crew writes her out and then introduces two new lady character love interest people that have nothing to do for the whole movie, and they just have no purpose to be there. It's great. So it's like we need to fill in the space that we can fill in by writing out Rose. Let's just oh boy.
Oh jeez, this sounds like a glorious clusterfuck so far.
So I told you that J.J. Abrams doesn't do payoffs; he does setups.
Right.
And then he got put in charge of the last movie where he was forced to do payoffs. And whenever J.J. gets forced to do payoffs, things immediately fall apart spectacularly. So that's how people will watch Super 8 and they'll be like, oh, I remember really liking... He's so good at starting movies, at the beginnings of movies, and then he's not good at the beginnings of movies, because for the start of a story to be good, it has to set up stuff that gets paid off. If you're not setting stuff up, then you're just dicking around.
Right.
And this movie, the Return of the Ninth movie, is like 2.5 hours, is like 2.5 hours long. It's so long, and so much of it is just dicking around. It's so much
that's literally so much of Alias and Lost as well.
Oh god, yeah. Like Lost is probably the thing that he's worked on that folks feel the warmest to, and I think a lot of that is probably.
And I think that's just because you devoted 8 years to it or some shit. You put a lot of... if you put, 5 years into something, you're probably going to have a little bit of fondness for it. Mm-hmm. But it's still just, it still shits the bed. It shits and poops and farts all over itself in the end, so...
But, I like Lost.
I like Lost up until the last 2 episodes. Then it's fine.
The thing with Lost is that it's full of these individually very strong character stories, which probably is JJ's purview.
Yeah, and they do a lot of setup. The series is a lot of setup, and it hates answering questions. And when it finally has to, it shits and poops and farts all over itself.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams can't tell stories. That was my takeaway from this movie. It was I've done this song and dance 6 times. You can't, dude. You just don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a hack. I don't know if it's just not clicking. I don't know if you don't care. I don't know if you're just really cynical and you're just good at making the text. You made it feel like a Star Wars movie. Congrats, I guess. Everyone got fooled by Force Awakens, so I guess he's good at some things like that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't think he wrote Force Awakens. I think he just
directed it.
But then he wrote this one.
Yeah.
And directed it.
I'm doing a bunch of just auteur theory bullshit, but this is how all of his movies feel.
But I think, I wasn't super high on Force Awakens, but it was a coherent movie, and you really like those characters by the end of it. Mm-hmm. And this one just sounds like nonsense.
I didn't really love Force Awakens.
Yeah.
This one is way worse. It's a train wreck.
But it was for me, it was I liked. Rogue One was okay. I didn't really like the characters, and it I did think Force Awakens did such a better job just setting up likable characters.
Yeah,
I
think that's
respected
fair.
it in that department. But then, they completely squander literally everything in this one. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Wait, didn't you see this one too, Rhett?
I read all the spoilers and just said
okay.
fuck it.
I thought you went and saw it.
I saw the one big spoiler and went fuck it, I'm out. Fuck this.
I think the big spoiler. Someone pointed out that all of it is in, and it's backtracking a really big thing from Last Jedi, of course, and it's everything referring to it is either shot in close up by 2 characters or overdubbed over Kylo's mask.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it might have been hacked in after the fact. I think it might have been a reshoot edition.
Oh.
I can't even imagine.
Because it doesn't matter to the story at all. It doesn't affect anything. And it doesn't affect the closing scene in such a glaring way that it's like, you didn't... Was this a Reddit response thing?
It really feels like it now that, like, the more you hear about it, it's like, yeah, this is literally a response to Reddit.
Mm-hmm. So it's a comically just a disaster. I did get home and was like, God, I really fucking love Star Wars, though. I just like when they play the da, 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 and the stuff starts scrolling, I was just like, oh yeah, I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
Why am I popping? I don't get it.
John, you're popping for some reason.
I don't know why I'm popping.
You will have to go back and listen to the recording, but it is you. It is you who is popping.
It's I who is popping.
You are the one that pops.
I am the one who pops.
and it does not stop.
It really doesn't.
Okay. So I did get home, and you know how I talked about WRPGs earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what if I could smush together Star Wars and Western RPG? Surely there isn't
never do that.
It could never do such a thing. Surely
That's
that
way
has
too
never
ambitious.
happened.
That's way
I
too
know.
ambitious.
Rhett is the one who glops. Thank you, Colin. I did come home from Star Wars and then immediately go buy Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh wow, that's what
And
prompted it, is it?
Yep, and I played like 12 hours. I'm having a pretty good time.
KOTOR is a pretty good precursor to what Mass Effect would be.
Yeah, and I played a big chunk of Mass Effect back in the day, and it seems like I'm having pretty much the same experience. We're like running around and exploring and maybe talking to folks and doing little quests is fun, and all the actual big story moments just totally fall flat.
Oof.
Because they cannot direct at all.
Unfortunate. Like, I liked the main stories of Mass Effect 1 through 3 personally. Like, I liked where all that whole arc
I
went.
feel like it probably gets better in 2.
2 is, like, 2 just starts out amazing. And then, like, the side stuff gets way better in 2. Like,
because it's the whole game. Like, they focus way more on the side stuff in 2, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Basically, 2 sounds better in every way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like 2 is
like
better
KOTOR
just
2
as a
sounds
game, as a narrative, as just a way of getting you into that world. Everything of it. And it's got that awesome mining game that everybody loves, right? Oh wait, that's just me, actually. I'm the only one
Everything
that likes
people feel sad about missing from Mass Effect 1, I remember playing and being like, oh yeah, this cool thing where I get in a car and go around like 1 mile of empty map and then go into the same dungeon.
And all the
so
fucking
great.
maps are the same. It's like, man, people were mad about that shit being gone when I remember playing Mass Effect 2 and reading some of the discourse around it and people being pissed. Oh, it's smaller. It's like, no, they just trimmed out the bullshit that they don't need.
Oh, look, they made it a fun shooter instead of whatever the first game was.
Yeah, like that first game is rough.
First game is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
KOTOR feels more honest because it's just like they even have a little tooltip that pops up and it's just like your positioning doesn't matter. It's all dice rolls.
Yeah, it's all dice rolls. Yeah, they just straight up fucking tell you.
I know you played Baldur's Gate and you bought this because you like Baldur's Gate. Please don't worry. It's still just dice rolls. There's no action. Please, it's fine. So that's the things that the fighting doesn't really feel good in KOTOR, but it's also very fast and it's over very fast.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
That hits a sweet spot for me, and I like. It's almost like a PSO vibe to it.
Yeah, I think that KOTOR does kind of have that, but positioning matters in PSO.
I mean, not the fighting in PSO is better, but like the environments, walking around these cool little sci-fi worlds with all these diorama levels.
I can see sort of the a bit of PSO-ishness in KOTOR.
And I got to 10 hours in. I got to the part where I could finally go to any of the planets, and I was like, okay,
you
now
finally got through the tutorial.
Jesus.
Finally hit the Citadel. Took 8 hours in this one. Great. So now I'm having a real good time because I got like to a certain point in the Tatooine mission where I was like, you need 4,000 credits to progress, and I went, I don't have that. So then I just
dipped and went to a different planet, and like, okay, now I'm gonna progress over here for a while, and that's just my shit. I really like. I'm learning to appreciate kind of open-ended structures after falling in love with RPGs from roller coasters like Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger.
Right.
And I'm finally kind of opening my heart to this, and I'm like, oh, like I kind of like this. Queen's Wish opens up a half hour in, and it has writing that's not embarrassing, and it has fighting that's fun, but Coda's good too. Because I still really like exploring and just kind of filling in those experiences. They're so dense. Like every other character you talk to has their own little quest line you can go on, and it's pretty neat that way. It feels like there's so much stuff and all the problems you can solve from like a couple different angles. Right. And I feel like that's maybe the big appeal with these sorts of games.
Yeah.
So
and it's Star Wars.
And the big thing is that it is Star Wars, and I do
Star
love
Wars.
Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
I really like Star Wars. Is the thing.
I really like Star Wars.
I've been watching like prequel meme compilations.
Oh my God.
I'm just deep in it.
John.
I read a comic book that was.
Is this
good.
where we're at now? Is this where we're at?
This is how we're starting off the decade. It's just all right.
What has depressed you this time? What has you depressed
The
right
new
now?
movie.
This is all react. Yeah, it's like, okay, I need to drown in some good Star Wars for a bit. So I'm playing this pretty good game and read a good comic, and I'm like, okay, there is good Star Wars. Might rewatch some of the original trilogy, which I think is great.
I think that original trilogy is still pretty good.
Yep. And that's pretty much it. I think I'll have finished up my Joan of Arc biography by next time, so then we can finally
really
go into
deep dive there, buddy. We're ready.
Really do the deep dive there.
I've been waiting. I've been ready. I'm ready to put my Joan of Arc bullshit to the test. We're ready to go.
Yep. But that'll be next time. So, Rhett, what have you been up to?
I played an indie game.
Whoa!
So we mentioned.
Whoa! Yeah. They still make those?
They still make those. This was kind of a mostly one-person thing. You mentioned earlier how Gato Roboto or whatever is a two-color game.
Yeah.
This is also a two-color game.
Hey, cool. Maybe yours was better.
Mine was better, I think. I played Return of the Obra Dinn.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Man, this has been on my I need to play this shit list for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This game has a very unique visual style to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's real
where
good.
it is literally just two colors.
It is Game Boy, but in 3D form.
But like Game Boy was 4 colors. Like, I think when you truly look at this, like they do a lot of dithering on like important stuff and like to have detail.
I
think if you
like I haven't
look
looked.
at it,
I haven't looked like deep at it to know if it's just 2 colors or not.
But I think it is actually like dithering enough. It's actually only 2 colors.
Oh,
it's
wow,
crazy.
that's pretty cool, actually.
And when you go into the options menu, like there's different visual styles that are named like IBM, Macintosh, and like Spectrum or something.
Oh man, fucking Gato Roboto does that too. And of course, guess what? There's a Virtual Boy one.
There's no Virtual Boy in this one. It's like literally just kind of emulating, I guess, certain colors from those old computers. Like this game is going for a very specific mood and vibe. So this is a game where you're a detective. The ship called the Obra Dinn kind of magically returns, and you've been hired. Hence the title. Yeah, but like that literally does end up playing into the story, like the fact that the ship came back, because you go on it and everybody who was on it died.
Yeah,
and you have to determine who everyone was and how they died. Ooh. And you have a magic wristwatch.
Yep.
That if you find like a skeleton, you can go back to the moment they died.
Yes.
Okay.
But like
that seems ghost tricky.
Yeah.
It's handled very differently though, because you literally go back to the exact moment they died, as in a still snapshot.
Oh.
But so like, keep in mind, this is a game mostly made by one guy. I think his name's Eric Pope.
Yeah.
He did Papers, Please.
Yep, Papers, Please.
So like
Lucas Pope,
he does
actually.
Lucas Pope, I'm very sorry. he does a very clever thing there, though, when just as a like economy of game development, when you're traveling back to the moment, you hear on a black screen like 15 seconds or so before the death, and then you see the actual moment. So like you're getting audio and then a visual, but like separately. It's really interesting. So like if characters are talking, you'll hear all this dialogue, but not actually be able to precisely put voices to people once you are in the world in the moment.
Right.
Because then once you're in this snapshot of time as somebody was killed, you're able to walk around the environment and like look at everything that's happening. And then you have to figure out, okay, who's being killed here? How are they being killed? And if somebody else is killing them, who is that other person?
Interesting.
It's a lot. So you have this like ridiculously robust notebook to help you kind of piece everything together.
Right.
Okay.
And this game is really overwhelming at the start because it's like you just keep going back and back. Basically, the game kind of ends up going in reverse order because like the first body you find is like one of the last people that died. So you kind of end up with like, okay, these were like the final 5 people. And then you find some more stuff. It's like, okay, here's like, because yeah, it's divided into chapters based kind of chronologically of how everybody died. And you start on chapter 10, the end.
Oh.
And then like the next one is like chapter, and then the next body you find is like part of chapter 9. Like shit's fucked.
That's
like whatever.
Actually, like so like the whole game kind of like plays out in reverse, or just like non-linear.
Oh, it's definitely non-linear, and it largely plays out in reverse though. Because after you're like, you can do a lot of it in any order, and like the game definitely the solutions the game will not guide you in any way whatsoever towards. But like as far as finding the bodies go, like because there's 4 levels to the ship, and I think you have to see everything on each level to have the door to the next one open up. And that did lead to one issue where there was somebody died in a very odd spot, and I didn't find them for a bit, so I had to look at the guide. So I'm like, where the fuck's this last body? But it's like, so then like you find the final body of like chapter 5, and then you see the moment they died, but like a whole bunch of other people died just prior to him, and then you're able to go into those memories via the first one.
Interesting.
So like a lot of these scenes, you'll end up finding one corpse who was the last person to die, and then having to find all the others, backtracking through that until you eventually end up back at the start of like, oh, here was the first person to die in this like 5-minute stretch.
Oh shit.
And
can you nest like jumping into brains and seeing when they died within the thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, cool.
There's one where some people died out at sea, so the only way to get into them is through the one person that was recovered.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like this sounds dope as fuck.
I mean, there is a reason this game was like kind of made a huge impact when it came out. Like people were like, "Oh, this is dope as fuck." It's so yeah, the setup and like idea behind this game is like incredibly clever. I think maybe one of the issues I had was that I didn't know what kind of game this was going in, and I start getting like 10 kills in, and I'm like, I have no idea who any of these people are. What are they expecting me to do? You know, it's just kind of overwhelming at the very start when you realize there's 60 people here.
Oh god,
like, there's a lot of characters.
Yeah,
and I just have no leads on anything. So, but eventually, I don't know. I don't really remember how I quite got started. I did end up finding this kind of nudge you towards the right answers guide. Because I found this guide that's basically very like good at confirming obvious things for you. Where it's like, hey, they mentioned a character's last name here. Don't overthink it. You know?
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise you'll be like... Because you could just... That's the thing is, like, you can put wrong answers into the notebook. And then you could really fuck yourself if you do that too much.
Oh, that would... Yeah. Holy crap.
So the notebook, if you are 100% right on 3 kills, it'll confirm them for you.
Interesting.
So eventually the game will start process of elimination things down. And even one of the tips for this game is like, hey, if you're pretty sure you're close on a few of them, you can maybe just kind of start plugging in names on something, and eventually it'll go, oh, click, and then you lock them in.
Yeah. This is like an actual investigation video game.
Yeah.
Which is also really cool and rare.
Yeah. But the whole part where, you know, it eventually has to tell you you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Obviously. Because otherwise it would be unbelievably difficult.
Yeah, like, you have so many fucking loose strings with, like, 60 characters to try and figure out what the fuck happened here. Whereas, like, a lot of these kinds of games typically go, oh, look, I found the audio logs, and now I know what happened. Whereas this is very much, like, a real investigative thing.
Because the thing that's so crazy about this is, like, and it never breaks this, is that every single time period you go to is the moment somebody died. So which means something's always going pretty wrong in every scene.
But this sounds like my shit.
Yeah. Because the thought I had at the start was like, oh, eventually I'll get to, like, before shit went wrong and just have a scene where characters are just talking and, like, saying each other's names out loud. Yeah. And that really never happens.
Never happens. Oh.
Because every single one is shit going wrong and somebody getting killed.
I just expected this to be like sort of a indie story game.
Yeah, like I thought this was like Gone Home, but Game Boy.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what I had looked at this from, as like a broad kind of reductive way.
I honestly thought this was going to be a story game, and then when it's like throwing all this gameplay stuff at me, that's why I was a little overwhelmed. It's like, this is more than I was expecting. I have to like be paying attention. What the hell?
The hell do you want from this video game?
Yeah, I know. Like, there will be times where it's like, okay, I know that this character that died had this role on the ship, and he's this nationality, and then you look at the notebook, and it'd be like, well, I've got a 50-50 shot here, so I'll just put this name in, and then, like, an hour later, it'll start confirming that you're right on a few of them, and like, oh, that I was on the right 50-50 guess there. He was this guy from Russia instead of that guy from Russia. Something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's a really neat game.
Did you finish it?
I did finish it. Like, because once you get really towards the end,
I imagine it's like you just start pegging shit left and right.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like the very ending is maybe a little anticlimactic when it's like, well, I've only got like 6 left. I can't be. I've got 54 of these guys confirmed. Like, there's only so many options literally left. The other thing that makes this a little overwhelming is that when somebody is killed by another person, you obviously have to name who killed them.
Yeah.
Who the murderer is.
Yeah.
And those are more difficult because, like, when you're trying to name somebody who died, the notebook will remove people you've already confirmed, but it won't for culprits.
Oh.
So then when you click to name the culprit, it just gives you all 60 every time. So you have to.
Interesting.
You just have to know it was this guy. And sometimes that can be a little cumbersome because of how you have to go back to these memories and be like you right click on a person and then hit tab to open the notebook and be like, okay, I know that this is that guy.
Yeah.
Because again, the weirdest thing about this game is that the visual style is really nice and like unique. It almost seems to kind of work a bit against the gameplay.
Yeah.
When you're having to distinguish these people by like characteristics on them. Like,
that might be a little bit.
It's a little weird when it's like when a character's nationality is like super important to identifying them.
Yeah.
Like I saw one person, and this never happened to me. I like didn't get stuck on it, but someone was like, "Yeah, I got to the point where I was just going through all the memories and looking at people's shoes, and I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't come to that. Like, I don't think shoes actually matter."
I would hope not.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really neat, interesting game, and like I read a story summary after beating it, like, oh, okay, like everything makes sense, but shit went really bad.
Oh,
basically.
Like 60 people are dead, Rhett.
Yeah,
that's probably never a sign of a good thing when you got 60 people dead. I only want 60 people dead if they're Nazis, so...
They're not Nazis. It takes place in, like, 1807 or something.
Cool.
A little bit before then. But yeah, just... The audio design is really good, is the other thing. It's like, when you hear, like, the last 15 or so seconds before somebody dies, it is painting you a picture with the screams of terror and shit going on.
That shit can be real haunting.
And then the way it'll just, like, full screen blast you into the moment of somebody dying, and like, oh God, like, it's pretty grisly.
Ripperoo.
Yeah. And then it just keeps happening and you kind of become desensitized. So that's a really neat game that I played. Holly, do you have anything?
I don't have anything else, no.
Okay, so I guess we'll spin back to John.
John, you got anything else you want to...
I thought Rhett was like, I've got so much anime, and I'm just waiting for Rhett to get to the anime.
I was not going to talk about anime today.
Well, I tell you what, this is a pretty light episode, so if you want to drop a little anime on us before
I have one more game to get to, though.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just bailing.
No. I also played The Evil Within.
Oh, hey! I've been eyeing this one for a while.
This is Shinji Mikami, who did Resident Evil 1. Vanquish. Yep. Did he do Devil May Cry 1?
Don't remember.
No, Shinji Mikami did not do Devil May Cry 1. That was.
I think he definitely did Resident Evil 4.
He did Resident Evil 1, the remake, 4.
Okay.
Piano 3.
Piano 3, that hot banger. Everybody, except me and Rhett are the only two people that own it, and I think Rhett got it for free.
I got it for like $3, and the disc doesn't work.
Oh, rip.
So I've never actually played it.
Well, you're not missing a whole lot.
No, the lost Mikami game.
It's oh boy, it's
Oh, and God Handed Vanquish.
Oh well, God Hand's pretty amazing. Shadows of the Damned. Yeah, he worked on Shadows of the Damned.
I was just listing ones he was credited as the director for.
Okay.
But anyways, people kind of saw this as him returning to the Resident Evil 4 style specifically.
Yeah.
Of like over-the-shoulder survival horror style game.
Actual survival horror.
Well, yeah. About that.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I guess this game does kind of hit that note, but it's a weird game. Because it is just... It has just this weird tempo where it's just constantly pushing you forward, but it's also very dreamlike and like cerebral, where like you don't really have set locations that connect to each other in natural ways. It's kind of like, you know, the dream sequences in Max Payne?
Yeah.
It's like an entire game of that.
Oh, that's kind of that could kind of be my shit if there's a reason for it.
But just like, I don't know, like the overall flow of this game always just felt like disjointed and kind of uncomfortable. Which I guess,
again, that works. That can work for you if it's a horror game.
I guess maybe I secretly don't actually want a horror game.
Oh, right. You just want Resident Evil 4 again.
Yeah. I don't know, it just felt like this game has so many ideas and set pieces it wants to get to you that it's just like kind of pushing you forward real aggressively.
I see.
And like there's like no downtime.
There's no
it's
like
kind of,
maybe it's kind of like a loudness war kind of thing where like it can't really be a horror game because it never stops kind of to have those quieter, more tense moments.
Maybe it's just it feels like it doesn't quite know what it wants to be. The funny thing is, like, there's one part where I got super excited because you come to a mansion and it just looks like the Resident Evil 1 mansion.
Oh man.
And it's like, the game is super, super linear for the most part, but like you come to this place and there's an upstairs and, you know, there's two ways you could go on the first floor, and I was like, oh, I have an area to explore and it's a cool mansion. Finally, I can kind of do this at my own pace.
Right.
And then, like, every 3 minutes, this invincible enemy comes.
Oh, good.
And if he touches you, you just die. And I was so pissed. And then I found out So, like, I basically didn't want to play the game anymore at that point because I just hated the idea of this invincible enemy just showing up and fucking killing me.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, he's really stupid as well. So you can just go into one of the larger rooms and walk in a large circle.
Yeah.
And he'll be walking behind you and then just disappear after like 30 seconds.
He'll just go away after a bit.
So it's like, it's funny seeing like a real early implementation of like a Mr. X idea, but just totally flubbed basically.
Yeah, just not quite working at all.
It's funny because when I was first got to the mansion, you hear some thumps in this background and you're like, oh geez, is there actually something out there? The answer is kind of like no, because this character will just appear.
Oh, right.
And then literally one frame disappear as well.
Oh no.
Like he literally just like the screen turns blue and then he just
despawns.
Gone. It's so weird.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. There's one area towards the start of the game that I really liked where like it's this kind of village area and you just have like 4 buildings to explore and you can kind of do it at your own pace and clear out the enemies and it felt a lot like Bloodborne. It just made me think of how like the Souls games, I think, are at their best when they're kind of nicking a bit from survival horror.
Yeah.
Because I think those games, like most Souls games, you become too strong at the end. I'm like,
yes.
Just those moments of having to like scramble for any advantage you can get, just looking around for items, like are my favorite parts.
Yeah.
So I think that was my favorite part of this game, and then as well as like my favorite part of the Souls games. Because I thought that was kind of going to be the tempo for the rest of this game, and then it just became like set piece after set piece. And then like, oh, here's an area that just gives you a ton of ammo and an AI buddy that will shoot anything, has infinite ammo. And then here's a turret sequence, just relentless.
Oh, jeez. Huh.
Some of the bosses are not good.
Not good.
Not good. I mean, yeah, worse. Actually, now that I think about it more, I hated the bosses. Like, I think that's actually one of the larger knocks against this. Like, the Resident Evil 2 remake bosses aren't hard, but I think that's probably for the best.
Yeah, like they're implemented in a way that they're kind of chunky and clunky in the same ways that you kind of expect a survival horror boss to be, but they're manageable.
Yeah. The bosses in this just tend to be like kind of huge damage sponges. And maybe a little faster than they should be. I mean, don't forget, the reception of this game was like not very good.
Yeah,
like,
it was kind of mixed, but I know some people that are really into survival horror that actually really like this in the next game. So
I've heard like almost universally great things about the next game, so I am going to get to that, which is why I played through this one. Yeah, like there were maybe just a few too many flaws in this one for me to really 100%
recommend it. Yeah.
I think just the flow thing is so weird when it's like how these areas just don't feel connected whatsoever, and I know that's the point, but it's like, there's this a point where like, you've gone from like underground sewers to creepy villages, dark mansions, and then you're just in the city on a turret mowing down zombies, and it's just like, how did I get to this point?
Yeah.
How did this game become this all of a sudden? There's a part where you're like on a bus and a spider monster is chasing you. Like, it goes full action at some parts.
Wow. Yeah.
But then like the second to last chapter is like a sewer, and I'm just like, this has no...
What am I doing here?
It just didn't feel like a very, near the end kind of scene. It's like, shouldn't we be building? It felt like it was building towards nothing, basically.
It was building to shit, literally.
Yeah. And then, some of the bosses are real annoying because that's what it is. This game loves one-hit kills.
Oh, right. Yeah, I do know that. I do know that.
This is why I meant to take notes earlier. I couldn't fully articulate it. It's like, oh, right. Every boss is like one-hit kill, Phil. And it just gets annoying. Because, like, the AI can be pretty predictable and exploitable. So, like, I'll just be redoing, like, the first minute of these fights, like, exactly the same every time. And then dying and being...
one-hit kill move.
And then I screw up or something happens and you get one-hit kill and you have to start over. It's just like... Because, like, you know, this creepy enemy that can one-hit kill you kind of stops being scary when you're able to manipulate them, like, 100% of the time. But then it's like, oh, but you have to do, like, the thing that damages them, like, 8 times instead of, like, 3.
Yeah, like, that sounds like oh man, they really love Dr. Salvatore from Resident Evil 4 with his chainsaw. They love that. They're gonna love if I just do it a lot in this game.
Yeah. And there's Chainsaw Guy in this, too.
Of course.
Oh, good.
Isn't there
There's
like
one
a
at the
butcher?
start.
Yeah, there's like a butcher at the start, isn't there?
There's like a guy chained up at the start who's, I swear to God, it's using the exact, I mean, this came first. Sekiro uses like the exact same voice sample for the chained ogre. It's super weird. Like, I'm positive they're 100% the same, but I don't want to re-download Sekiro just to grab audio from it.
Oh, really? Really? But it's a game of the year according to the Game Awards. That out of nowhere win.
Listen, guys, we love you, Death Stranding, but we can't give you every award. People will
Jeff
know.
really, really wants to, but
yeah. So it's an okay game. I ended up picking up the season pass, even though I know I'll hate it because there's a second campaign with one of the female characters that is like 100% stealth.
oh, good. That sounds like it'll probably be wonderful for you.
For me, like, people say it's pretty good. It's going to be miserable for me.
It's going to be utter misery for you.
I'm going to be a scared baby.
You're going to be wet, little baby wet.
That was my highlight. Was when you tweeted like, "I am actually really scared of you right now. I am viscerally afraid. do not want to open up the game because I am too afraid."
That was the stupid enemy that just walks around for 30 seconds and then disappears. So I found the exploit on him, and then it immediately stopped being scary. But just yeah.
I love how much of a gigantic baby you are.
There's one enemy in this that, like, it's a boss fight, but you don't really have to fight him as a boss because you kill it and then it respawns like 15 seconds later.
Oh.
Like, the respawn is so fucking quick, it's just mean. Because, like, you just have to kill it and immediately start mashing A on, like, the door you have to open.
Yeah.
And then he'll be respawning as you're finishing it and walking towards you. It's just, like, it's kind of miserable. Like, right on purpose, of course.
Right. It's kind of like how, what's that name? That Stealth Bastard kind of always ends at a part where you're running towards the door, but, like, there's a very small timer, like, the light's about to get you, a turret's going to see you. It's very meant to evoke that feeling of urgency.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that's Evil Within. I guess that's a podcast?
I mean, yeah. I guess that we will go ahead and call that the first podcast 2020. Let's give ourselves a nice big pat on the back. We did a great job. We're so good. It's amazing. They're going to write books about how good we are at this someday. Can you imagine the Sockscast live tour that's coming up? Can you imagine doing these live
3-hour long shows?
Just 3-hour-long shows of us sitting around talking about how bad playing River City Girls is. It'd be good. It'd be great. Everybody come out. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Tinker Gemini, for the sub and the bits. Always appreciated. And I guess with that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. But before we do, John Thayer, where can the internet pals find you?
Farwaytimes.itch.io.
Okay, you sure? Is that the one?
Yeah, I was mixing up my Twitter username and the website.
All right, Rhett.
Do we want to announce anything for like Game of the Decade or stuff, or Anime of the Decade?
Look, we are going to be doing a Game of the Decade thing. Let us get things sort of set up behind the scenes a little more for that to decide how we're going to put all that together. But we will announce it probably next episode, I imagine, on how you can be a part of that. Pardon?
They should be thinking about their top 10.
Yeah, you should be thinking about your top 10 games of the decade. That's right. We said 10. We're insane. Oh boy.
You and Taylor have top 10 albums of 2019. Two
yes,
podcasts on the
those
main
just
site.
went up in the last couple of days. If you're interested in some of the best tunes, well, let's just face it, the best tunes that came out last year, you can catch parts 1 and 2 of that up on the site right now already. You can grab those right now if you want to.
Cool.
We won't stop you. We'll let you do that. Like I am the kind of person that if you need to download 3 episodes of podcasts from me at once, I ain't gonna cry about it. It's fine. You can do it. It's all you. And remember, we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones that love you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Once again, thank everybody for coming out and spending your Sunday
so much
with
for
us.
coming out.
Means a lot. Always does. We will catch you again in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, I'm going to send you over to Gremlins Are Us.
Oh.
She is playing Shovel Knight, King of Cards. The only John Thayer approved host that I can possibly give right now. So everybody go over there and give her a lot of love. And we will catch you next time.